that I didn't. No matter how hard I tried, I felt alienated by my puzzling condition that no one could understand, not even me. I reacted to situations in ways that seemed wrong or unacceptable and didn't know why. I was criticized or ignored when I reached out for support. For years, I wondered what would become of me and how I'd ever be able to survive in the world with such an incapacitating handicap. The uncertainty carved deep grooves of permanent insecurity. The future looked grim and scary. It all started one night when I suffered my first anxiety attack after my parents put me to bed. Out of nowhere, a terrifying current of fear surged through my body like a demonic possession. My heart began beating rapidly. I gasped for air and I began to sweat. My mind raced uncontrollably, and I thought I was going to die. I ran into my parents' bedroom, and in a frantic state, I woke up my mother, not knowing what was happening to me. She lifted her head from the pillow and, in a drowsy tone, whispered very softly that I should be careful not to wake up my father. It wasn't until I was in my mid-20s that I realized how significant her words would become. She murmured, "Go back to bed. You have nothing to be afraid of." I went back to my bed as she instructed and hoped she was right. For a moment, I believed her without question, but the panic continued. As I lay awake for the rest of the night, trembling, I wondered if I was going to see the daylight again. I felt alone and terrified, knowing I had no one to turn to. As a child, it's especially hard to understand what's going on when anxiety hits, which makes you feel powerless. I wasn't in control of myself. The anxiety was. It was the first of many dark and lonely nights to come. For the next 4 years, the panic attacks and general anxiety that developed from them occurred intermittently and without warning. I gradually understood that something was amiss, because if there was nothing to be afraid of, as my mother declared, yet I was still afraid, then the only answer could be that something was truly wrong with me. I also remember thinking that I must be stupid and weak if I was scared of nothing. There was no identifiable source of stress that I could verbalize to my mother, no monsters under the bed or boogeyman in the closet. There was simply no reason to feel so frightened. I had never even heard of the word anxiety. No one ever spoke about it to me. I don't think anyone in my family even thought about it. My problem was just shrugged off, and I was left to deal with it on my own. By the age of 12, my panic attacks mysteriously went dormant, and for the next 9 years, they stayed hidden in the deep recesses of my mind. But when I returned home to New York City after college, the anxiety returned with great intensity. By then, I was an adult and had a more mature ability to understand that I needed help. I also seriously recognized my need to seek help instead of letting my problem be minimized or ignored by my parents. Desperation finally convinced me to give in and go to a psychotherapist. At first, my parents tried to deter me from seeking any kind of psychiatric care. They believed that therapy was only intended for crazy people, and shamelessly admitted they were worried that the therapist would somehow brainwash me and turn me against them. Usually, their opinions, especially my father's, were extremely influential and difficult to ignore without fear of reprisal. Luckily, I didn't listen to them this time and moved forward with treatment despite their objections. I was desperate and knew I needed someone else to guide me out of my confusion. It was one of the most crucial decisions I ever made in my life. Many people who suffer from anxiety are often discouraged from getting help by well-meaning but uninformed people. The belief that anxiety can be controlled if you simply try hard enough often prevents people from taking you seriously and can make you feel low about your inability to get over it. It also can deter you from taking therapeutic steps to actually get the kind of help you need. After 2 years of on and off treatment sessions with a very bright and compassionate therapist, I learned to use solid coping tools to help manage my anxiety better. However, I also realized that despite